This is On Board with Marcus Machado today.
Thank you.
And I'm Cyndi Handson, and I'm going to be having a conversation with this amazing artist. We've already been talking a little bit about music, so I know this is going to be a very nice conversation.
Indeed.
But straight away, I'm going to get right into it. Everyone's got a bio. You have to do that, right? Because how do we sell ourselves as artists, as whatever?
Right.
But immediately, the first thing I saw is that you were a child prodigy at the age of 2, playing guitar.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a gift. It's a gift. You know, I've been playing guitar since 2 years old, professionally since 9 years old. So I've been playing all my life, and you know, it's a blessing to do what we do for a living, and you know. And no job, no nothing like that, and just.
Did either of your parents or anybody like have a background in music to be able to say, okay, forget the bottle, have a guitar?
Yeah, my mom, she wasn't a musician, but her record collection was crazy, and she could tell you a song that was a hit before it even came out.
Right.
So like in our house, I remember it was everything from Jimi Hendrix to John Denver to Coltrane to Miles to Funkadelic to Earth, Wind and Fire to Slide. So it was all these different genres of music that I was, you know, picked up on. My father, he played a little bit guitar and bass, so we had instruments around. And yeah, the only thing I can remember is 2 years old crawling to the guitar, and they were like, "What?"
Wow,
yeah,
amazing.
That's been it.
And where were you growing up?
Yeah, at this time it was New York.
Okay.
You know, from Brooklyn, New York. I also too lived in Florida for a little bit, but everything has just been self-taught. You know, didn't go to school. You know, nothing like that. Yeah. So for me, the way I kind of picked up the guitar was listening to records. So you know, it was like a puzzle. It was like if I really liked something, I would rewind the vinyl back and what's this part and try to figure it out from there. And yeah, that's how I developed the ear. And then, you know, later on you start getting into notes and what, you know, music terms, what everything is. But other than that, everything was,
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on like sort of like profession, like people that learn music as opposed to the self-taught? I mean, I guess it's just an interesting one.
Yeah, it is, because it's like a double barrel, because some people think like, okay, if I went to school, or you know, if I know how to read music, I'm better than you, and if you don't know how to read music, you're kind of like the not so good
but your
musician.
Education was through the community.
It was definitely it was records, you know. Being around older musicians, you know. I was always around older people, so you know, actually being in clubs at 9 years old and playing, and then going to school early in the morning. And my mom, she was just like, I'll make a deal with you. She was like, as long as you have good grades, I take you to the club, and you know, you can play. And that was the best thing to do. And you know, and for her, I was never force on anything. Everything was like, if this is what you want to do, I support you 1,000%. It wasn't like, well, don't do music and you know, whatever. So I always tell people, I wish
my mother would hear this.
I always tell people, you know, if you have a talent or anything that you're into, just go towards it and just explore. And that's pretty much what it was. But my education in music was just records and just listening to all different genres of music, and just kind of having an open mind to you know, any type of form of music. So if it was something that I didn't like or I wasn't aware of, go check it out. You don't have to listen to it every day, but that's where I kind of feel where music is at right now. It's like everything is kind of to the left, and then there's some good music, but then it's super underground, and it's just like people need to have a more open ear to what's happening, you know.
Obviously through, like, you know, we mentioned the records you were raised in, but sometimes there's also the fact that many of us, or particular generations, were blessed to kind of be around so much different styles of music and emergent factors. So, you know, your music, when I listen to it, and your influences, they're like, it's funk, it's jazz, it's black music, let's be real.
Absolutely.
But it's like a whole psychedelic jazz, rock. I've just been listening to some of the things you're doing. And then obviously, like, you seem very well respected in the hip hop community. And it just seems that you've been very blessed to have a very rich tapestry of music, and you play in all those different directions,
absolutely,
which isn't always easy for most musicians to do. So even tonight, as an example, you're at Ronnie Scott's with Jose James.
Yes, shout out to Jose James. I was living in Amsterdam for a couple years, and I always used to see Jose. I was very familiar with his work, and you know, he was such a dope artist, you know, and when I moved back to New York in like 2014, I was working on my EP 29. And the studio that I was working out of, as the session was finishing, Jose was coming in.
Okay.
And I was like, oh man, I finally get a chance to meet you. I was like, I always see you on stage, but we never like connected. So we end up, he's like, man, I love your work. And he was like, man, it was such an instant connection. And then as we kept talking, we found out that we're both Panamanian. Our family's from Panama.
Look at that.
I said, wow, man. I said, now we really got to do something.
Yeah. For the culture.
Yeah, for the culture, for sure. And from there, that was like probably 2013, 2014. And yeah, I've done multiple tours with him. Such a cool cat. And it's an honor to be with him out here in London for Ronnie Scott's. And yeah, 1978, this record we did last year. And basically it's just a collage of Marvin Gaye, what's going on, and it's basically like the whole era of 1978.
Oh wow.
And so you hear it's like party and politics, he likes to call it. So you got the party side and then you got the politics side. No, it's a great record. It's an honor to be on that project with him, and it was with the same band that you're seeing tonight at Ronnie Scott's. And yeah, we did everything. He came in with a couple demos and it was no rehearsal. We probably knocked this whole record out in 2 days tops.
Wow.
One takes. It was just like, it was such a vibe, and I was like, man, I was super excited. I was like, once we finish this project, I'll be happy to go out here and tour. So it's great. Now, a year later, we're here in London at Ronnie Scott's. We had 2 sets last night. Incredible show. That was my first time actually playing at Ronnie Scott's. And
how did you find it?
Oh man, I love it. It's super legendary. All the stories. Of course, that was Jimi Hendrix, one of his last. The last time he played at Ronnie. So Roland Kurt. Seeing all this stuff. For me, it reminds me of Blue Note. Yeah. Of New York. So it's just the London version of it. Such a warm vibe. The staff, everybody is super cool. And then we'll play again tonight. 2 sets. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love that. And then tomorrow you're flipping it and playing at Bricks London.
Yes.
And you're doing something. You mentioned Jimi Hendrix, and I feel like he is so important to you. Everything I read about you, I feel like you sandwich in Jimi Hendrix's name, right? It's kind of like poetic justice that you're doing like a tribute to him, but it's not like some cheesy cover tribute thing. No. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I tell people, like, even when I was younger, they always kind of label me as the next Jimi Hendrix. And like I said, it's a complete honor.
Do you have the afro?
Nah.
Well, then you can't be.
But for me, it's like, it's an honor, but at the end of the day, there's only one Jimi Hendrix. You know what I mean? The only thing I can do is take what I learned from him, the inspiration, and keep it going. But just the fact to be in certain places. And I remember 2017, I was able to play at Handel and Hendrix. I was one of the first artists play in his actual old apartment.
Wow.
And actually in September when I come back, I'm gonna do a whole series. At Handel and Hendrix. But tomorrow it's just playing homage, just playing songs from Jimmy. It's going to be me on guitar solo, you know what I mean? And it's going to be a real nice, intimate set. So I'm looking forward to it. It's always fun to play Jimmy stuff, and he was such a big inspiration, because you got to remember, a lot of people don't realize that besides him being a guitar god and all that stuff, Jimmy was actually played with the Isley Brothers. He did Sam Cooke.
This is it. Like
Little Richard.
It's a bit like Prince in a sense.
Same thing.
Like some people just remember him from I Want to Be Your Lover and 1979 stuff.
It's so much more.
And not realizing that he's just wide open, and he was playing with other artists, it's amazing.
Exactly. And also too, he did all this in 4 years. So he was 27 when he passed, and to this day, 53 years later, something like that, there's still music, that unreleased stuff. So I mean, this guy was playing literally every day.
Wow.
So for us, it's like cats are still trying to catch up, trying to catch up to him. But no, like I said, it's a complete honor to do his music. And for me, it's not a cover band. I try to play his music with my own vibe onto it. So what I mean. I hate the cheesy. I can play note for note.
Oh my god,
and
we've
it's
got
great.
Well, right now, like, because the industry's a bit whack at the moment, and it's really difficult to get people to come out with, in this country as well, the rising costs and everything. So a few venues have just like got into this whole cover band thing. I swear down. it's just lame, man. It's so lame.
Yeah.
It really takes a special kind of homage for me to think I want to listen to a recreation of a classic album or whatever. But
because for me, I'd rather
those venues know who they are. Do you get me?
And for me, it's like just listen to the record. If I want to listen to Jimmy, I'm gonna go listen to the record.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean? It's good to learn. Wow, he played this note, but there's only one. There's only one.
What other favorite guitarists have you got?
Oh man, so much. Eddie Hazel, Prince. A lot of people forget Prince was such a killing guitar player.
I never do. I'm a serious. See,
come on now.
When I read up on you again, I saw that you had something called Aquarius Purple.
Yeah, Aquarius
I'm
Purple.
thinking, well, is he an Aquarius like me?
Yeah, you're Aquarius.
This is where it is.
When's your
25th of Jan. When's yours?
February 9th.
So I was like, is he going to be a fellow Aquarian? Hey, Soul Aquarian.
Come on.
Please, get me into the Soul Aquarian, family. I bet you and Questlove are cool and rah. Because I know he's a fan of yours anyway. So that's amazing. So I was like, I saw these connections.
AQ, see? AQ.
There you go.
You already know. Yeah.
That's it. Let's play something from your own album, actually. Okay. This came out
last year, Blue Diamonds. So real quick, there's 2 albums. First album was Aquarius Purple that came out in 2021. But Blue Diamonds was actually the first record that was supposed to come out first before Aquarius Purple.
Okay.
So this was recorded in 2017. And short story about Blue Diamonds, a friend of mine, shout out to Patrick House. He was a film director. He approached me back in 2016. He was like, man, I'm doing this black exploitation type of short film. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I just envision you doing the music for it, like a movie score. And I was like, wow. I was like, I love to do it, but I've never scored any music for film. But I was always intrigued by movie scoring. But I was like, hey man, I'll give it a try. So I kept recording all these songs. It came out great, and I had a list of a whole bunch of songs. I was just recording. And I was like, wow. After listening to it, I was like, man, this kind of gives me a Curtis Mayfield, Superfly, Barry White type of vibe. It's real 70s, and I was like, man, I would love to collaborate.
What's the film? Is that it's obviously come out?
Yeah, so it was out in short film festivals that came out a couple years ago, but it hasn't been officially released yet.
Okay.
So then I was like, man, this needs to be like a soundtrack album, and they don't have that no more, where you have the film and then you have the soundtrack album. Yeah. So that's where Blue Diamonds came about. But Blue Diamonds was intended to be the first album first, and then Aquarius Purple. So pandemic happened. I ended up finishing Aquarius Purple, and then I had these 2 albums. I was like, well, let me do Aquarius Purple first, and then that dropped, and then last year Blue Diamonds just came out. So it's a vibe. I got a lot of people on there. I got the great Sandra St. Victor. I got Brian Owen. Shout out to Jermaine Holmes from D'Angelo and the Vanguard. Miguel Artwood Ferguson, who's incredible. He worked with Flying Lotus. He did the Suit for Ma Dukes, of course, the Dilla tribute. And it's just loads of, this is kind of like my collab album. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different artists that's on there, but it's still guitar driven, and it's a vibe. It's a vibe for sure.
It's very much sounding. It's so interesting because with a couple of friends here, we were talking about yourself, and it was like a kaleidoscope of discovery the more we looked into who you'd worked with and whatnot. So you're kind of like a bit of a darling in the industry, it would seem. Like I've probably got many records where you played on without even realizing. We, now that we don't have as much ability to buy vinyl, we don't really get to see the sleeve notes. Right, so just throw out some tracks that you think that we would definitely know that you've played on. Is that like a throwing it out too wild?
Man, I mean, of course, shout out to Jose. Play on stuff from Jose. I've played on stuff from Pete Rock. I don't know if you guys know Pete Instrumentals, Volume 3.
Oh yeah.
Volume 3, I was on that. So Pete Rock, shout out to Pete. He always wanted to work with a band, like a funk band, and we actually replayed his samples and stuff. So Pete Instrumentals Volume 3 is myself, Daru Jones. Shout out to Daru Jones, Mono Neon, Jermaine Holmes, Christopher McBride, Brandon Newsom, percussionist, and it's just us just jamming out on there. Also, shout out to 13, Pheromont. That's my other group that we have, which is myself, Pheromont, and Daru Jones. That album is out. There's so many different.
I love the fact that you always keep the hip hop in the jazz so kind of connected. It's a little bit disjointed in the UK, it has to be said. The UK jazz scene is really flourishing, but UK hip hop, they're not necessarily as married.
Yeah.
In fact, they're kind of not. I mean, they exist in the same world, but whereas in America, you guys really lock into the same kind of frequency, which is beautiful to see. You know.
Wow, that's crazy.
It seems like you do love hip hop.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a hip hop kid first and foremost. You know what I mean? And that was my thing. Like, you know, me being a guitarist first in this era is different than the 90s, because the 90s you had your Prince, Slash, you had, you know, Stevie Ray Vaughan, you had all, it was guitar driven. But I feel
it's
like
kind of hard right now, isn't it?
I feel like now it's a different time because hip hop is the main genre. But and that was my thing with my music. As much as I love rock, as much as I love jazz, I love hip hop, I love all these different genres of music. So my idea was like, how can I be a guitarist and take all these genres and put it together? So whatever music you hear me is always going to have a hip hop beat to it. You know what I mean? I love D'Angelo, Slum Village, Tribe, KRS. Like, we grew up on all that stuff. So for me, it was like, how can I make it to where it's something for everybody? So even if you're not too big on guitar, you can still bob your head. You can still
I love that. I love that.
out,
I really appreciate that. As someone who, I've got a thing about sometimes some musicians, I don't know how you feel about this, but sometimes I think some musicians, brilliant as they are, don't understand restraint.
Yeah.
You know, like
absolutely.
They want to be soloing over everything because they're so great at what they do, but they don't realize that for the picture of the sound to be beautiful, sometimes less is more. Exactly. And it takes a special kind. It's like the same like with drummers that just drum too loud. It's like, dude, man.
It's a time for everything. It's like us having a conversation. It's not me over talking you every 2 seconds to get out to what I have to say. Sometimes you just gotta lay in the pocket, and then when the time is right, then you solo, then you show what you do. But it's not for that every time. You know
this is why everybody should be an Aquarian. Life will be
much easier.
World peace.
See, a lot of people think they say, "Oh, Aquarius," but like, we tell you the truth. We'll tell you in a nice way. We're not pushovers, but we'll give it to you straight.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
absolutely. You know what? I can see that you and I can talk for a long time, but really we're here for your album. Okay. So what do you want to play?
Let's do "Pass Me By" from Blue Diamonds. It's featuring T Fox. Shout out to T Fox. And this joint is one of my favorite songs. This is the one that Quest, he found it on Instagram and was like, "Yo, this is dope." So yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Try to fit in your world on the side.
Do you know what? Even though we were chatting, I was jamming hard to it,
Oh,
and even
come on.
producer, she just run in to say how wicked it was. Sophie,
Thank
it's
you.
true. It's that it is. It's a mishmash of beautiful, all of your influence, all of your
That's
sound, the
basically,
hip hop, everything,
Yeah.
and it actually did invoke memories of someone that we lost, you know, in the community, Casey.
Oh,
That kind,
good.
that sound too.
Very good friend of mine. Yeah, we did the last show. I did the last show together. Yeah, we played in January. We did the Jay Dilla tribute. It was myself, Ray Angry, All Star Crew. Then we did a show with DJ Logic and with Felix Pastorius, Jocko's son.
Sure.
And then we did the last show that was in that was at Blue Note with Jay Period. That was for the release of his album. And man, we were just sitting up there just talking after the show for 2 hours. He was telling me everything that he was going to do, and we were supposed to do the Panamanian because he's Panamanian also too. And yeah, you know, very good friend. He was one of the first cats because when I lived in Amsterdam, Robert Glasper, Chris, I met everybody over here, and everybody thought I was from Amsterdam. I was like, no, I'm from New York. But yeah, man, Casey, shout out to RIP to Casey, man. That was a very tough, still dealing, still dealing with that. I just, it's no words, no words, you know.
But yeah, we move. Right, another track that you'd like to share with us from your album? What would that be?
But I want to go to Aquarius Purple, so I think y'all may have to cue that up.
And we're back in the room. This stuff is actually impeccable. What label is this out on?
This was through Soul Step Records. Soul
Okay.
Step Records, yeah, it's a label out in Nashville, you know, and basically a real short story. So, you know, I had these 2 albums, And Aquarius Purple was the first album, and I was like, man, I only want to put this on vinyl first. So I was like, I'm going to put this out on vinyl. It's not going to be on streaming platforms. And pandemic happens. So now I'm kind of like, okay, it's like 2021, and I'm like, well, nobody's not going to buy no vinyl because there's no shows. Everything is shut down. So I was kind of like tossed in the middle of like, maybe is this going to work? Am I too late or whatever? But I was like, what I got to lose? Let me just put it out and just see what happens. Put it out, the release day, it all sold out in like 2 minutes.
Amazing.
So, for me, for that, it shows the power of, music. And, at this time, this was my debut album. And, Aquarius Purple is very dear. The whole reason why is Aquarius Purple, of course, I'm Aquarius, just like you. Yay. Aquarius in the house. And the purple represents the color of the music. That's every time I listen to it, I get this feeling of purple.
Do you see color? You one of those people?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know
definitely
about that.
Music,
so that's
yeah,
amazing.
definitely, yeah. So for me, that's what I got. And then listening to the album, the influences, of course, you hear Prince, you hear Jimmy. It's all the purple effect behind it. So I was like, at first it was just going to be purple, but then I was like, let me see if I put Aquarius Purple, does that lines up together? And yeah, that's the vision of that album. And yeah, I'm super happy with it. And then with Blue Diamonds, still guitar driven, but also it's more collaborative. So now it was like, in a way, it's good that people live with the album now. And then now it's time to tour for the album. So I'm excited to come back very soon.
Doesn't that jar you as a musician? Like, you make something, say like in 2024, you get it released and everything, and then it's kind of almost like sometimes years before you then have to be like, yay, now I'm promoting this thing I've heard for years and I've been working on for years, and to kind of recharge yourself and be excited about something that it's kind of always past for you.
In the past.
How does how do you work that
out? For me, it's just like, for me, it may be old, but to you and to anybody else, it's not familiar. It's new, so I have to keep that in mind, because for me, I always move on to the next. So like, these albums are, I love them, but I'm on to like album number 5 right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Are you in the process of? Are you working on that?
Oh yeah, I'm like 2 albums. I'm working on 2 albums right now.
Damn.
That's going to be out probably sometime the end of this year, maybe.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I'm in the process of that. But for me, it's just like, it's difference of being in the studio and then actually being out on stage. Because when you actually be out on stage, each night is a different thing, and then you get to recreate these songs live. So that's what I'm excited about, to actually come back and actually hear these songs live. And I feel like it kind of worked out for me, because people will live with the record now. So it's not like you go out, you put out an album, they're not familiar with you, they don't know the songs. So it's kind of like, let's see what he's about. But I think, with these records being out for some time, it's time for me to, see if I can win over some crowds.
Yeah, we love that. So listen, we as I say, you and I, we'll chat.
Yes.
Even after this probably. But we have a little segment that kind of is a bit of a rip-off of a Desert Islet Discs.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's a nice way to kind of share some of your inspirations. And I know it's probably really hard to kind of come up with 3 songs, killer songs, that mean something to you. Let's get straight into it. First one is a Jimi Hendrix track, and I guess off air we've already talked about your inspirations with him, and you've given me a bit of an education, but I think this record really does provide the education. So tell me a little bit about it before we listen to it.
Electric Ladyland, like I said, this was the record, came out in 68, and he was doing a double album. It's so many different genres. It's not just only rock or only blues. You hear all different type of vibes in there. And what he's doing on the guitar as a producer, this really showcased Jimmy as a producer, because this was the first album, him producing it by himself.
Okay.
The first 2 albums, it was Chaz Chandler that did, Are You Experience. It's still Hendrix driven, but he had more of somebody to watch over. I feel like with this record really shows him as an artist and what he was doing in that time. And Electric Lady, I love every track on there, but Electric Lady Land, that really showcases, this song showcases his R&B vibe. So it was more so like you hear Curtis Mayfield, and it gives a real nice dreamy effect. And you can see, he was an R&B cat too. He wasn't just, just rock and just, burning his guitar. But, there was sometimes he could take it down and really listen to, the lyrics.
It's really
stuff.
funny. I think that if he was still here today, he would probably kind of find it hilarious that a lot of people that have sort of separated music into genres very religiously, like with rock music, and how it's sort of become synonymous with, you know, white folks, and only recently people are like, actually it's all black music. But you know, he would have found it hilarious that there were people into rock music that hated R&B.
It's
like,
it's crazy.
You know?
It's crazy. And I feel like over here he was very more appreciative because, you know, back then, you know, people, I wasn't born back then, but it was just like people look at him like, oh, that's the guy, he only just plays rock, you know, white people music. And it's not, he was so far.
That's a small unfortunate aspect of that legacy, because it's been co-opted by a lazy kind of rock critic ideal. And so this record, I love the education because I heard it a bit earlier. But let's listen to it.
Have you ever been? Have you ever been to Electric Ladyland? The magic carpet waits for you, so don't you be late. Oh, I wanna show you different emotions. I wanna show you the sounds and emotions. Electric woman waits for you and me. So it's time we take a ride. You can cast all your hang-ups over the side while we fly right over the love-filled sea. Look up ahead, I see the love land. Soon you will understand. Make love, make love, make love, make love. I wanna show you the angels will spread the wings, spread the wings. I wanna show good and evil lay side by side while electric love penetrates the sky. I wanna show you, Lord, I wanna show you. I wanna show you. I wanna show you.
Definitely, I'm gonna start looking through some Discogs for Jimmy. Like, you've actually converted me, like literally through a little bit of conversation and that tune. I'm gonna dig in.
Thank you. And also too, like, let's not, after Electric Lady, real quick, is Band of Gypsies. I don't know if you're familiar with Band of Gypsies. Band of Gypsies is, I have them wearing the shirt. Jimmy, Billy, and Buddy Miles. That was the first Funkadelic before Funkadelic.
Okay.
It's a live album, and that's showcasing Jimmy playing funk and rock together.
Okay.
And when you hear that, that's the foundation. George Clinton says it, Bootsy says it. It started in '69 from that particular album. If it wasn't for Band of Gypsies, there would not be no Funkadelic.
You heard it here. For those that didn't know, get to know. Right. So the second one is actually one of my favorites. So I'm really happy that you've chosen this.
Of course.
I mean, it's not about me. So I'm going to ask you why you love The Ballad of Dorothy Parker by the late great Prince.
Prince. Oh man, this is
you
all
tell
time
me.
For me, my mom, once again, credit to my mom. I was like, I don't know, 4 years old in '87 or something like that, and I remember every day she would play this whole entire album, Signs of Times,
man.
Signs of Times, Signs of Times. That's my favorite record of all time from Prince. Why? Because I feel like he was at his peak. I mean, this is really show. You know, like how you have certain artists and they have that album. That
a lot of people would say it was Purple Rain, but Sign of the Times.
Purple Rain was not taking nothing from Purple Rain. Purple Rain was what brought him to the masses, of course. But but you can't forget Dirty Mind. Dirty Mind was killing. There's a lot of stuff on there. But I feel like by the time he gets to Signs of Times, I
definitely think there's a level of plateau. I mean, Love Sexy is all right. But Sign of the Times, have you the concert? I've watched that concert. Like,
come on. And what's
ridiculous
crazy,
amount of
and what's
times.
crazy was was supposed to have been another album, the Camille album, that was part of Signs of Times. And remember, for this record, he only toured here. He only did Europe. He didn't even
I
do
did
the
not
States.
know that.
So it was
Wow.
like the record came out, he toured Europe, did a couple shows, and that was it. And then he moved on to Love Sexy. So I don't even really think Signs of Times got really as just.
But you know what?
Dude.
Most people do know that album. Like,
yeah, of course.
obviously they know the title track.
Of course.
But there's so many. Do you know what? I was playing Beautiful Night, Gonna Be a Beautiful Night the other day out, and it's just like people have to remember how brilliant that album is.
Yeah.
Ballad of Dorothy
Dorothy
Parker.
Parker,
Let's zoom in as to the
let's zoom in,
why.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
got my whys, but you share yours
My why,
first.
I mean, just listen to it. I mean, just the sound of it, his production, him as a producer. A lot of people forget him on the beats. With what he's doing on the Lindrum here. No, he chops everybody. I'm sorry,
sure,
like
for
this.
sure.
Just
I think
the
he
whole,
must have got a little bit inspired from like Jimmy Jam and those crew, showing
Absolutely.
him about those
Yeah,
beats because they were
absolutely.
working the
Yeah,
family all together.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely. And also too, the story behind this, I remember a little bit. It was like, it was very fast. Like he maybe did it like couple takes, one take. It wasn't like they didn't spend a lot of time on it. I remember Susan Rogers, I was watching something on YouTube. He was like, roll the tape up, knocked it out. But just the sound and just the vibe of
it was so ahead of its time.
way
the
ahead of its
sound.
time. And you hear Sly Stone very much in this. And just I mean, it's so hard to explain. I could go on and on about this
We're
song.
gonna play it, but I'm gonna say one of the things I always say when anyone's talking to me about soul or neo soul is like, listen, D'Angelo. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
template. That's
yeah.
the sound.
That's the
that's
sound.
it.
That's
like
it.
without that, you would
Without
never
that.
have had D'Angelo.
No. No.
That's it.
Exactly.
It's done.
Exactly.
It's done.
Dorothy was a
Black
waitress
tunes.
on the promenade. She worked the night shift. Dishwater blonde, tall and fine. She got a lot of chips. Well, earlier I'd been talking stuff in a violent room, fighting with lovers past. I needed someone with a quicker wit than mine. Dorothy was fast. Well, I ordered, yeah, let me get a fruit cocktail. I ain't too hungry. Dorothy laughed. She said, sound like a real man to me. You're kinda cute. You wanna take a bath? Do you want bath? Oh, I said cool. I'm leaving my pants on. Cause I'm kinda going with someone. She said, sound like a real man to me. Mind if I turn on the radio? Oh, my favorite song, she said, and it was Joni singing. Help me, I think I'm born. Phone rang and she said, who ever's color can't be as cute as you. Right then and there I knew I was through. Was gone. She was blind, and fiction brought home by a witch's curse. Dorothy made me laugh. I felt much better, so I went back to the violin room. Let me tell you what I did. I took another bubble bath with my pants on the fighting stop. Next time I'll do it sooner. This is a ballad of Dorothy Parker. Sweet.
tune! What a tune!
Oh,
What a tune!
classic,
Like,
classic.
I'm a massive. I was never really a fan, like a super fan of any artist. Like as a teenager, you'd have friends that have like Wham or posters up in their bedroom and like crying when they saw certain artists. I never was that person, but when it came to Prince, I became a super fan, and it was like any era he was going through with Peach and Black for Sign of the Times, then I'm busting those colours.
Yes.
If it was purple, the polka dot fit. I was on that. I was even a member of the New Power Generation. There was a magazine.
MPG.
I've got some magazines because I subscribed. I'm serious.
Yeah, all the way.
Don't mess.
All the way. Yeah,
so lovely choice.
Yeah.
And finally, the third track. It's called Running Away.
From Sly Stone.
Okay, because I was like, it wasn't going to be Roy Ayers.
Yeah, but but Sly. I mean, all the different tracks that you guys are hearing leads up to where Prince pretty much got his stuff from. So the Jimmy stuff on Electric Lady, you can hear that. Running Away, it's like a pre Ballad of Dorothy Parker. Super funky, super super dirt, like just the sound and how the way they were recording that stuff. That's how I love my albums to be. Like it could never be like that, but they didn't have the tools that we have.
It's so strange that these records sound better with less tools.
Yeah.
Like the quality in comparison.
Yeah.
But I think that's just a loss of the skill of mastering because of the way that we now have access to making music. Those of us that haven't got the dexterous skills, we can get on a computer or whatever. Yeah. And therefore we're not really understanding how to like
the process of the whole thing. Because like I said, a lot of these records were cut in the studio. With like it wasn't they didn't have unlimited tracks how the way we have tracks now, so you had to have your music right, and then you record all at the same time. If you made a mistake, you gotta do it again.
That's it.
It was you had
Nancy
to take the
Wilson
tape.
was saying this. I saw a clip of her saying that she remembers the times when you'd have to just go into the studio and you hope for 1 to 2 takes max, but usually one take, and that's how they cut records. And a whole load of the internet got upset about that because not everybody's a genius like Nancy Wilson. But you know what? I rate that. I rate that level. I wish the bar was more going that way than
absolutely.
a slight race to the bottom at the moment.
Absolutely.
There was an artist just recently who said, I will not name her because I'm sure she'll regret this in a few years. She's only young. She was saying that a song must not be longer, does not need to be longer than 2.5 minutes.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear. And I understood it from a TikTok internet generation, but my word.
Yeah.
My word.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Times have changed.
Let's go back to the true source of
Sly Stone for sure.
Running away to get away.
Come on.
Ha 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 ha. You're wearing out your shoes. Look at you fooling you. Making blues of night and day. Hee 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 hee. You're stretching out your dues. Look at you fooling you. Shortcut is quicker, but ha 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 ha. Time is here to stay. Look at you fooling you. The deeper in debt, the harder you bet. Hee 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 hee. You need more room to play. Look at you fooling you.
Yeah, that's a wicked track. I
that's the
forgot
one.
about that.
Yeah.
I know that someone sampled that or many times, but
yeah.
I didn't remember that I actually
one
had
of my
that tune
favorite. It's
down.
so hard to pick out of these three, but if I had to, like, off top of the head, I was like, these were the three.
Quality
Yeah.
selection, definitely.
Thank you.
Oh my god, it's been amazing chatting with you. I'm sure that people,
likewise.
if they're watching it rather than listening, they'll see. Like sometimes you do an interview with somebody, maybe just because you're not gelling as much. Like when this music goes, you're just having these awkward conversations. I'm telling you, we're having full blown music
serious
chats.
serious. There's going to be a part two.
That's got to be a part two.
Yeah.
But listen, we can't talk forever. You know, you've been on a boat pod, and it's been wonderful to have you here in London.
Thank you so much for having me.
Really wishing you well with your gigs. I mean, I know you're going to smash it with Jose James tonight at Ronnie Scott's and at Bricks London.
On
Sunday.
Yep.
Doing all things Jimi Hendrix.
Yes.
Tell us about anything else that we need to check out. Like, are you coming back to tour in London? What's going on? Any projects?
Yeah, right now I'm in the process working on the 2 new albums. So look out for that. Looking forward to coming back. It's still in the works, but between September and October I'll be back here.
Cool.
So I'll be touring for, Aquarius Purple and Blue Diamond. So, follow me on the socials and stuff.
What's your socials?
Socials on Instagram, IG, official Marcus Machado. Machado, Machado. Or you can go to my website, www.officialmarcusmachado.com, and you can see all the dates, all the cool stuff that's happening. And I'll be back very soon, for sure.
It's been really nice to chat to you.
Oh, likewise.
Wicked.
Aquarius, my fellow Aquarius.
Lovely. Nice, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.